Very good evening, everyone at Cus over here. Yeah, that's what it is. My name is Darryl, and I'd like to thank everyone for coming down to Judgement Day Can Wait, Poetry Nights at Cus Session 1. It's an honor to have everyone down tonight, and especially in today's society where, you know, everyone is being judged no matter what you do. And it's very hard to actually just be yourself and just do whatever you feel like doing because you're afraid that, you know, what people are going to say, because that's how society is. And what I like about things that are going on tonight and poetry slams, open mics that happen every now and then in Singapore, everyone gets a chance to actually open up, get out of that cage and just do what you want to do. And I think it's a very uplifting feeling. And no matter how short it can be, but we get a chance to be who we are. And I think that's very lovely. So I want to thank everyone for coming on tonight. Give yourself a round of applause. And I think it's going to be awesome. So I know as we are late, I'd like to actually call upon our first poet. This is an awesome guy. I've read his work, and he may be a little bit on the side when he likes songs and new stuff, but he's cool. And I just like to call upon my man, Mr. Mervin Judah Lee.
Okay, before I start, I would like to thank Darryl for giving me the honor of being the opening act. Sorry, I'm still nervous. I haven't drank enough yet. I was thinking of going straight into my poetry, but I realized that this is a good opportunity for me to share some things as well. I actually have BPD, borderline personality disorder, and I also suffer from depression. And these two conditions actually destroyed my marriage, it destroyed my career, and I nearly killed myself several times. But today I'm still here, I'm still standing strong by the grace of God. So for anyone out there who's struggling with something or whatsoever, I just want to take this opportunity to tell you that, don't give up. There's something better around the corner, just hang in there. With regards to my works, I was thinking of reading some of my depressive stuff, but heck that, There's already enough bad news in the world, so I'm just going to talk about love. Right? So for those of you who are here with your partner tonight, God bless you too. Treat your partner right. And for those who are single, I'm sure you'll find a special someone soon. And as a matter of fact, you know what? If you see someone you fancy tonight, like let's say you see a cute Chinese guy on stage, and you want to give him a chance, just go for it. Just ask for his number or something. Alright, so first off, basically my poems right now is about this girl, isn't it always? And things aren't working out, but I'm still hoping that one day they will. So yeah, anyway, here it goes. So yet another night, sitting in my room, staring out the window, trying to remember a time before you. Cars driving down the highway, chasing dreams and moonbeams. If my words were a river, would it bridge me to you? It's my guitar and I again. Tonight I'll sing a song for you, but I've forgotten the words. Your name's in my skin, like a tattoo in blue. I'll see your eyes in the stars. Maybe there was a time we were friends, but my heart trembled, even then, simply when I was looking at you. In the spaces between your heart's beat, I planted a million flowers. And even if the sun and moon collide, my heart would be true. It's my guitar and I again. Tonight I'll sing a song for you, but I've forgotten the words. Your name's in my skin, like a tattoo in blue. I see your eyes in the scars. Okay, this one I think it's written for hopefully someone I marry one day. And here it goes. If we got married tomorrow or the day after, will it be happily ever after? I don't know. But what I do know is, I would wake you every morning with kisses on your eyelids, singing a different love song as I nibble your ear. Fire out the stove, make you bacon and heart-shaped eggs with a glass of OJ. While you lie in bed, sleepy-eyed, blow you kisses as I dress our kids out for school. And maybe it's a little cruel, but I'll tickle you, smell a dragon's breath as our breakfast is getting cool. That's what I would do, and a lot more. I would be your man and understand that some days you're not at your best, but that's okay, love. I would love you more anyway. And as I leave for work, I will give you a peck on your forehead and your lips. Whisper sweet endearments as our fingers brush. Oh, it's too much, even as I whisper I love you. The taste lingers on through the day. I don't think this will ever go away. I'll come home to my heart and its song. If every beat was in Morse code, it'd be beaten out for you. Hold you in my arms and smell your hair. Thank God in the heavens and the stars that you are who you are. Tuck our kids in and kiss them goodnight. Then fall into your arms, my heart's delight. That's what I would do, and a lot more too. I'll be your man and understand that some days you're not at your best, but that's okay, love. I will love you more anyway. If your name was a lullaby, I would sing it the whole night through for you.
Alright, that was an awesome one by Mervin. Come on, everyone, give him a nice round of applause. I think that was something that came right from the heart, and I don't think it's easy to get it out on any other given day, because people will just have their own things to say, and sometimes we just need to say, we need to speak. We don't need someone to answer us back, we just need someone to listen. And that's very hard to get these days, because everyone has something to say. So without further ado, I'd like to call the next one on stage, Mr. Dustin Wong. Where you at, baby? Mr. Dustin Wong. He's from Singapore Poly. He's a young guy, but I think he's got a lot of nice things to say.
Alright guys, before I begin, I'd like to ask you guys a quick question. I have 2 poems, okay? Which one do you want me to do first? One about, it's a Singlish rant. The first one is a Singlish rant. Singlish rant first? Okay. The second one is a typical heartbreak poem. So, Singlish rant first? Is that okay? Yeah! Alright, Singlish rant. Here we go. Yeah. It was said to me, one fine and ordinary day, as I sit down at my table with my that plastic tray, hey, I can see all the Zibai foreigner come to our country, make my country fall. And you know, I thought, and I pondered over that worrying fact, you know, was it some kind of overlooked opinion or a worrying fact? You see, are those not born to us in our sacred clay soil, come here and, you know, to destroy us with all their labor and toil? And one voice beside me laughed and pointed so far, you know, that some foreigners are going to turn over all the police cars. And the laughter spread and everyone smiled, and, you know, even as all those indignants were imported and tried. And then they spoke of those of, you know, white western flock, so given to boasting and crooning like cocks. So it was said, and thus so it was eaten and taken. I could not tell if they were lying or, you know, hopefully mistaken. And one of those of yellow skin and thin slanted eyes, those alleged barbarians just like you and I, okay? Supposedly evil and supposedly more cruel, despite the fact that every country has its own share of fools. And then the talk turned sour and away from the foreigners. It turned towards gay people and how they must be condemned by all the conservative cattle. And by my right, I say that it simply sounds wrong, you know. They are sin fathers in all your sacrilegious songs. In my written book, I stated before, and now I do so again, do not condemn anybody before your knowledge of them begins. I have seen foreigners and gay people do good and do bad. They are just as the same as you and I, as we are sane and as mad. Pathetic as all of you are who demand one nation of progress, and yet cling fast to old poison and spit venom in Congress. If you want a nation of first world values and prosperity, then tolerant and understanding, you fucking hell have to be. Now, I want to eat my meat. So that's this one. I'm going to do the second one is heartbreak one. Okay? Alright, okay. So this one is about being drunk and calling your ex. I'm pretty sure I've heard this a couple of times before. But I'm gonna read this now, alright? Okay. It's called Sober. A man does not have to be drunk before he decides to pick up his phone. To punch in those 8 numbers etched into the fabric of his mind, he does not need alcohol to grant him courage. Because he already has enough of it if he manages to suppress the inferno in his heart with the icy waters of his self-restraint up to now. There is no truth waiting for him at the bottom of that empty glass. Because the only truth inside his soul is that you left a gash that he cannot patch up. If he manages to call you anyway, after running through his liquor cabinet, then he must not have drunk enough, because that is not how men work. You see? For the lager is but a pair of shackles, and the stout is a prison cell we imbibe into ourselves to keep our memories out. After all, we only drink to forget. So when a man calls you 6 months later at 3 in the morning, do not label him as drunk or out of his mind, for his sanity is still woefully intact when he does so. His words may be muddied and slurred, but his intent is still crystal clear, clearer than the vodka surging through his veins. He does so because he knows he must. He does not need to be inebriated in order to recall every scrap of memory about you that lies in tatters at the back of his mind that he tries to bury every day. And hidden in between the meandering syllables rolling off of his flailing tongue is the truth. Born from the clarity only a man will try to sully, because the world has no need of that which is already in his heart, and the alcohol does little to induce this state of aching lucidity. It only functions as a convenient excuse, and it is a crutch that no man can refuse. So a man is never drunk when he calls you. He is not drunk when he speaks those words. And he sure as hell does not need to be drunk at all for him to remind you that after all this time, regardless of whether he wants to or not, it will search forth and break through those chains, the stubbornness no liquor can hope to restrain, the hurtful truth that somewhere, somehow, that at the end of the day, he still loves you, and he always has, even now. That's it.
Thank you very much, Dustin. Next up, we have Mr. Chris Taylor. Give him a round of applause.
Thanks, Darryl, for inviting me to read this event tonight. This one is called None of the Above. She had been sad that day, sat down and put down a glass of milky tea on a stained surface and said something to her husband. He replied, looking into her eyes, holding her hands, kind, like the good man he'd always been. Don't worry, pet. Try not to, at least. She couldn't help it. It was the fear, you see, or the foreboding, or the sense of claustrophobia, one of the above. You'd think that when nothing matters, when the taste is leached out of days, when you imagine children eating wood, old men pissing themselves, girls losing their maidenhood to knives, and it leaves you cold, you'd think that this would be the end of feeling. But no, it is not. Fear and shame leak into forks and light fittings and the perfumes of shop assistants. Coldness shivers you from the words in newspapers, not the drama of dead or the false hysteria of unemployed, redundant, sick, lost, not even the pleading, whining words which each salty morning fill the air between your ears, and the crooning talk radio, the entreaty of corruption, of cash for questions. No, the longing, corrupting, sweet fear lodges itself in between these words, in man and woman, economy, in the Sunday colour supplement words, in escape, in value, in holiday, in leisure. It's words like partner leave you reeling. You can't escape it. The homeless paper hawkers know it. The good Samaritans, the horde of angels clinging to your back with pointed ears, all know the nature of your disease. She had been sad that day when she signed the paper which put her remains here, donated her body to science, because what's the point? What's the point in burning or rotting, or she never outed the other alternatives. I want none of that, she said, and the box she ticked said, other. And the man who took the paper was sincere, and the lady who lent her umbrella was kind, and the boy with his trousers round his arse, even he wasn't so bad, not really. And her husband said she'd done a good thing. As she walked away, she prayed silently. Her hands pressed cloth together, the linings of her cold pockets. She prayed to one of her many gods, one of those who sit above and watch, one of the above, to let her mortal remains live after, to let them be seen. Thank you. This one's called Evidence. Evidence of turning, of rolling over into sleep. An article of faith, this will happen again and again, long after you and I and these 10,000 species of fish are like the sooty coral bones cutting our feet. The immortal crabs in borrowed houses, auctioned after their creator's wake, will hurry, exposed from the woodpile towards darkening cracks, while something reaches the desiccated timber and lifting drags it firewards. Looking up at the evidence of burning and painting fusion-fueled reflections in the combustion of driftwood. You were in the dark sea, and I here remembering lying on creaking bamboo, seeing in the almost full moon a woman, her head bowed, a faraway stone, loving us, the earth, loving our seas where you have gone, as only stone can. The impossibility of defining certain feelings was the subject of our nocturnal seminar, the novelty of some, the desire for excess, nostalgia for the body's turning, to touch a bare centimetre of your wrist felt like another kind of evidence. That was the end of the poem. This one's called Another Revolution, and this one was finished today. or maybe finished, anyway. Another revolution. Again, they bring the animals struggling, its squeals not quite those of the farm, and tie the thing up to an upright post and gut it, the blade so sharp that skin does not protest, and all you see is purple element, and eyes that for some moments widen until the stuff that makes it tick is gone. And you feel as though, debt staved again, the interest paid, you're free for one more notch of time, another revolution. What is it for, this not quite animal, this sacrifice? Who eats its heart? Who its many meated limbs? I am tossed a hoof, all fat and singed hair from the fire. I snack compulsively, until wiping the grease from bristles on my chin, I stand and wander into trees and splash relief into the leaves, and tilt my head back, whistle tunelessly. The moon conspires above me with a wink, and hope within me once more rises. This one is called On Winter Hill. I look to the mast on Winter Hill, and in a breath I am there, crunching the ice crust on the heather. Electromagnetic storms invisible around me, and walking on peat, I feel sunshine. I descend through wide, steep woodlands, hanging gardens, steps of limestone, follies of some Victorian gentleman, Angkor in Lancashire, augmented by the green of broadleaf beach, resting on the oak and moss-upholstered furniture, passing by the oratory of costumed players walking on and down in the direction of the coast. Another breath and 2 tones greyer, passing Winter Hill in a railway carriage going south, south from the old men and scarred fells, south to fish on dishes of the south-southwest, where we will mark times turning with ale and dancing and old rock songs, chat with long-time friends and new relations by the cricket green, under the close-felt August summer sky. 2 more breaths will take us there, back into the peace of Winter Hill, beneath that heathered crust of ice, beneath the hanging gardens on the stone, beneath the players' words of oratory, under the shade of oak, following each other into dark, into the light. I've got time for a couple more. Okay, this one's called The Witnesses, so this is a love poem, but I can't remember who I wrote it for. The books on the shelf, the pictures in their frames look on. The television holds its breath. The floor expands expectant under the rug's embrace. The telephone with a soft click disconnects. The radio silently unfurls its aerial. The lamp closes the blinds. The walls listen, and you and I move in the stillness, move within each other, limb on turning limb, and in this shadowed light, each touch and breath of skin is watched by patient waiting eyes, by all the still and silent things. The clock stops, the air inhales, and all is quiet. Alright, this is the last one. This is about the kind of bar where middle-aged guys go to listen to rock music. It's a subject close to my heart. And a particular bar in Hong Kong called the Wanch. So it's called To the Wanch. Drink to never having finished those late nights in old men's bars with half-drunk pints of gold and throbbing chords from power-struck guitars. A Harley parked outside. The evening cold, the sticky residue of alcohol on breath. 1,000 bottles stacked against the wall. A shouted introduction, calloused handshakes, peeling old-style posters, calls for Freebird, Sweet Home Alabama, Hendrix, Zepp. Drink to never stopping drinking, and recall that cities change, but old men's dive bars will remain the same forever. This abides. And after all the travelling is done, and after friends have flickered their last wink, and after all the strife is over, think that what awaits you on the other side of death is God's great piss-up in a small and sweaty beer hole in the sky, and smile, for this is heaven's stairway. This is reason not to fear the reaper. This is not the end, not by a mile, so drink. Thanks.
I appreciate what you just did, Chris. That's awesome. Next up on stage, we got a nice young little boy, a few ladies over there. Could I call upon Mr. Praval? There you go. Become a little boy.
I've become a little boy. Fuck. So much for DMT actually. Alright. First one's about Buddha. because fucking Buddha. Alright. The art of a person from another is confidence peppered with hesitation and base capital. Strode he on the skies of golden earth, of ruby carpet, nothing dies forever in mirth, the unknowing prophet. As the moons grew and waned with green to brown grass, did the king in lieu Siddharth name shatter his purple-stained glass. As the creep of dirt and mean old men ridden to die at a cough, with doom thought flirt, he sought that was penned and found the lack thereof. So he left the gold, the inheritance of government, and fled for himself. The choice was bold, reasons italic, strange temperament, another kingdom on the shelf. Sat his body under tree or dirt, mind roams free. He had this query, a question of why. Repeatedly invented primitive. Though he grew weary, he never did sigh, the lines not knowing were blurred. Did he almost go a half-century sunsets before he found the middle? He asked again, and oh, the answer from nothing did he get, the joy of solving a riddle. Oh, I don't give a fuck. Did he then know? And lo, he did not give any fucks. Emotion. He set out so, karma now naming luck, capitalism is an irrelevancy. He found the middle way as the Maya turned Vistari, did witness grey to white, that not even Manwe, Lord Vala of the realm fairy, into unknown cake could bite. Gautama Siddhartha may as have well sat under the trees of Valinor. He could have lain his grass mat at the feet of neither Iluvatar nor. For within the power of a king, he can never be a sage, and vice versa, his wrote true, his stars were on the correct page. Thanks. So I'm going to get slightly a bit more edgier, I guess. I wrote this because, okay, so right now I'm in OCS, Officer Cadet School, and the first thing they go in is that there's a commander who's like, he's like a super philosopher. He looks like he's always perpetually sown. Like he is like so, and he asks very deep questions. So the first question he asks is, what's your purpose in life? Like, fuck you, that's a stupid question. But anyway, I wrote something based on that. Said of Mark Twain, the two most important days are the day you were born, the day you find out why. Yet to define myself so I loathe the fire of purpose one day to turn to smoke. Then shall I in darkness stumble, be it through the edge of knowing or the veil of the other side, or even the ash of other purposes. Person makes a reason lest it consume them. I am named so to learn. Rasping the scabbard rust, the pen is well oiled. My name, Valor declare, fare thee well. And I wrote this today because I had the idea, but I wrote it very quickly because I was busy sleeping, because I spent the last 5 days like digging 5 graves in the jungle at Mandai. Army life. So this is called Fuck People. People love and people lie. People come and people die. People construct with ideas of sheet metal, of faith and hope. Ideas are perfect, feelings are not. To taint perfection, seek to hold. People love and hate. They hate other people. People have hated me, but it pains me little. Not that I do not care, but because I know that no matter how much you hate me, I will hate myself more. For you can only hate what I say or do on what I tell you, and what you then deduce. Only I know what I think of all the fucked up thoughts, ideas, nightmares, fantasies, that even I have cringed in horror. Where opportunities exist and these ideas exploit themselves, my will keeps them in line. I hate them all, curse their perfection. Every idea is perfect, everyone is flawed. People suck, and people know it. You know it. You're shit. I'm shit. But if everyone is shit, no one is. Even better, we're nothing. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, brother. So, hey, Praval, are you single?
Yeah.
Ladies, you just heard the guy is single. He writes well. Give him a round of applause again. I think that was awesome. Right now, I've actually got something from a very, very close friend of mine. He doesn't like to be seen reading his stuff, but he actually wrote this for me, actually. You know, we go through shit every now and then. But I'll just leave him as what he wants to be known as, the Midnight Poet. Ooh, cliche. But this is what he is. He writes really short stuff. That's about the only thing that's short about him, though. And, it's called For What Is Love. For what is love? It is that feeling that gives our hearts wings. It lets us soar beyond the clouds, to glimpse out at heaven and all its joy. But love can also burn those wings, to send us tumbling down to reality, smashing our hearts to a million pieces. But given a choice, we all will love, even if we might fall. For falling is a small price to pay, or soaring into the sky. That feeling of being invincible. That feeling that you can do anything. And then we fall. And then we hope that love will come. With its warm breeze, carrying us forth gently into the wind. To be among the clouds again. That's for you, Midnight Poet. Yeah, I still love you, bro. Next up on stage, I think this is a face that everyone knows over here. She's just very humble. I'd like to call upon Varshini. Please come on up.
Hi. Can you hear me? I can hear myself. Hi. Oh, there we go. How's everybody? Good? Okay, I didn't hear anything. So this one is called The Masks We Wear. Wear a mask. Take it off. Reveal yourself. Be naked like a flame, burning bright, never ashamed. Why is it so hard to be free? Experience your darkest fantasies. Be wild, be strong, be an animal. Give, take, but give again. Walk bare feet, touch the grass. Let it caress your inner soul. Smell the rain before it comes. Inhale deeply. Be wild, be strong, be an animal. Be free. Aim the moral compass to nowhere. Based on conventions you were made to believe, the arrows fall short of destination. Why do we keep suffocating when all we need to do is stand? No drowning, no bleeding, no pain, no suffering, no more. Finding, searching, reflecting. Where do you go from here? Fear is strong, but you are stronger. Epic is this journey, and so are you. A million stars divided and united, shining and illuminating the path ahead. Take it, walk with it, roll in the dirt, dirty your shirt, stain your dress, be free, be wild, be comfortable. There's no more hiding under tables. There's no more talking to the walls. Peace and harmony is for your taking. Take it and let it feed your soul. Feel their silky smooth velvet of comfort on your skin. If the universe carries to you, wrap your body around the angel. Seek not to expect. Drown in pure love. This drowning is allowed. Watch the lights grow larger and brighter and warmer until all you can do is surrender. See those green sparkles surround you. Watch those eyes enlarging to let more of you in. You touch the electric current. Your senses swirl. You fall into a dream and you wander into wonder. Let your body fly. Make your soul full. Let your heart burst open wide to receive. Be wise. Let the angel go. Knowing what you already know. You are one. You are here. You are safe. And now, alive. Thank you. second one is called The Girl with the Crooked Mouth. This is slightly longer. I think it's about 5 minutes. So please stay. The Girl with the Crooked Mouth. A wide-eyed wanderer of a girl, older, a charming soldier of a boy, younger, a handshake impressed, a glance teased, a smile invited, a wave goodbye hooked. Hearts grew bolder, and so began a love story. But this is no love story, no. This is a story of a girl who realized that the word sorry didn't mean anything when said one time too many. This is a story of a girl who realized that heartbreak was a physical pain, a pain that can scar and leave you slain. 4 out of 4.9. That was the number of happy days, relatively happy days, where love grew so much that it had nicknames. It traveled and marveled. It got drunk and fell in the sand, laughing, sometimes hurting, but mostly smiling. It got passionate and fulfilling. Love grew wings and felt like it could fly, but its seats never stayed in first class. Q 4.0. First class couldn't accommodate no more. The boy watched the girl as she spoke. With animated gestures and callous giggles, her bright eyes dreaming, her voice journeying, unaware of the impending words that were going to strike like lightning. The boy stared, parted his lips, and he interrupted, "Do you know that your mouth is crooked?" Suddenly, the face of love turned into a question mark. The boy couldn't hear the sound of a heart breaking. The voice of love that used to sing lullabies had become a mere judgmental passerby. How did the eyes of love turn into those that sought out scrutiny magnified? She prodded, and she pulled, and she analyzed. Her vacant eyes glared at the motionless reflection, wanting answers. All it did was to stare straight at her and right through her. She was now the girl with the crooked mouth, and she was not the norm. She wanted to disappear. If only she could whisk away like a rocketeer, but her spaceship had been built for two. The girl with the crooked mouth was already vanishing. She sat alone, gazing fixedly upon the V-Day colorings, as the boy she loved fiddled with his food across from her. She cast new lines to reel him in, only to find she was already left behind as he wandered like a royal king among his subjects, seemingly on the prowl for a new queen. Still, the girl smiled, her crooked smile, interjecting patience, yearning for his attention. She peered at this tragic comedy like an orphan stuck outside, observing dinner time for a perfect family. The girl with the crooked mouth couldn't understand how the boy she loved remained by her side and yet never showed up in her life. The spaceship became rusty. Was he not supposed to have been the cosmic change of her universe? Did he not promise a future of stargazing? Was he not the Leo to her Capricorn? The girl had become dried leaves on the ground that he walked on, the kind we never seem to mind, the ones that we step on and push aside or discard after our leaf painting exercise. We'd only ever take notice when they decide to sweep up and brush across our faces. Still, all we do is quicken our paces. The girl held the boy's hand, but the spaces between their fingers seemed infinite, and the road from palm to heart no longer existed. She struggled to draw a bridge, but she could never find the right pen. The ink always dried up, or it stopped writing after 2 strokes. All she wanted to do was to write him to stay. There was a danger in her heart that she kept hidden from him, for if he knew, he would call out on her weakness. There was a war in her mind, and she had no idea which side would be kind. The girl understood that she was no angel, but surely even crooked lines were precious too. After being thrown aside 3 times too many, it was time to cull the blues. Sinking realization that what remained was only the shell of a person. This was not the woman she wanted to be, to have her being dictated by metaphor. She was not a mistake, or an excuse, or a fluke. She wanted to be the type of woman that would roar. She wanted her tales to be embedded for years to come in lore. Sometimes the first step to holding on really is letting go. With the winter growing in her heart, she came to realize she did not belong. So off she went, in search of her people, with a soul full of hope and a heart full of dreams. Perhaps the journey will deliver the coming of spring. This place existed. It called out to her, for her. she will find the perfect pair of crooked hands that will hold her and tell her that the words from her crooked mouth were enough because they were true, and together they will steer a spaceship built for two. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you very much, Varshini. I think that deserves another round of applause. Please give it up for the awesome ladies. That's what it is. Yeah, it's very nice to see what's going on over here. People doing their thing and everyone supporting it, and I think it's a very lovely feeling. Right next up on stage, I have a very close friend of mine. We've shared, we've talked a lot, and I like the way this woman thinks, and I think everyone will be amazed at what she's going to say. Put your hands together for Sherilyn.
Thanks. The weird part is you cannot see, and you cannot hold, and you can barely feel any of this gibberish that is slowly pouring out of my mouth, and it's only for tonight. But I can take you there. Maybe, just maybe, if you could just close your eyes and let your mind do its wonders. And try to imagine hearing the smoothness of lead grazing the paper that I'm writing on. It's just like little whispers of secrets that fairies pour into your ears on merry nights. But what you wouldn't know is the moment, a moment so intense that it could cook up a storm over your calm. A storm so powerful it could ignite a wrath so violent it paralyzes almost everything in your mind. But wait, the only part left is when you hear the voice telling you to pick up a pen, pick up a pencil, and write. Write words. Write words that you know, write words that you want to write right now. Write the words that come naturally. You fuck your grammar and vocabulary, anything at all. It's like blatant honesty and raw emotions are controlling you. But if you're close enough to insanity, the voice will tell you that it's your pen, not you, not your mind. And as you listen to this, the part that stirs up things inside of you that you didn't even know were there. When you listen to things people call words, you find sometimes as if someone is gradually knocking up your insides and then twisting your gut with no fucking care in this world. And they're pushing razors so deep into your heart that there is no choice but to envelop all of these tiny, shiny razors. And you accept that it is here to stay. And if you try to make any mouse of a move, it would only be cutting deeper, and you pause to wonder when and how the fuck did it have so much control over you. And then you let a little wet droplet pull you all the way back to where you were seated, where you were lying, where you were drowning in your own thoughts. They're overflowing like how you fucked up the kitchen sink or the bathtub when you were a kid. Only this time, it ruins everything that stands in its way. It crashes into all the architecture you've ever raised. It's a hell-sent fucking tsunami. Any structure that you've built is hit with an anti-matter grenade. In your treehouse, your sandbox, your safe zone, your zen filled with tulips, even all your OCD boxes of memories that you neatly categorize, and maybe even color-coded. Your bulletproof walls you thought to be so infinitely tall and wide that no dust, no feather, no soul, no stars could ever infiltrate your oasis of peace, let alone words. But on these walls, they fade to the sickest shade of gray that even if your guts churned and you threw up, the slightest splash of bile wouldn't make any difference at all. Don't forget to breathe now. And that small quick breath sends a bone-rattling shiver down your spine as you fight to sew your lips and your lids shut for fear of everything destructive that is just dying to pour out of every fiber of your being. And you try to recall it and revive the fire that once fueled you, but is becoming nothing but a flicker of a dying flame on its last breath of oxygen. And those razors, they become part of your being as they multiply in joy of conquering bone after bone, as they move quietly into the tiny little fishes of your soul that you forgot to mend. Thank you.
Oh, that was a nice line, Sherilyn. Thanks a lot. I hope you guys like that one from Sherilyn. Alright, what's gonna happen now? now is we're going to take a little 5-minute break. We'll do what you got to do. Restrooms over behind over there. And we'll be back soon. And we're going to get a little bit of music coming up. So I'll see you guys up soon. All right, everybody. All right. Welcome back. I hope you had a nice little break. So next up, we have a familiar face among all you people over here. I think you know this girl that's coming up. Without further ado, I'd like to call Cheyenne on the stage. Where you at, Cheyenne? There we go. Come on, give a nice round of applause to Cheyenne.
Okay, if you guys are familiar with the poetry scene, I actually wanted to do this at the last gig, but this is overdue, so I shall do this now. Where is the boyfriend? This is the question asked every family reunion. Where is the boyfriend? There is no the boyfriend. Why not? Just because there has to be a reason. She's lying. Where is the boyfriend? I hate to tell them the reason why I haven't brought anyone home. It goes along the lines of, I'm scared. And I'm not scared that you might not like him, no. I'm scared because he might not meet the impossible standards you have placed on me and hope to be reflected on the guy I bring home. I have worked so hard trying to protect myself as the image you want. There's really no way I'm bringing home another imperfect human being, and I am trained to react accordingly to your questions. Once upon a time, there was a boyfriend. Don't look shocked, there was a boyfriend, and I loved him. But he's not my boyfriend anymore, and I wish he made it to the meet the parents stage. I wish he made it to the meet the extended family stage. I wish he stayed. But I really don't blame him that he left. And if he had met you, I really wouldn't have blamed him for leaving. Because when you ask the question, where is the boyfriend? You're not asking if I found love in my life. You're not asking if there's someone I hold preciously. You're not asking if there's someone I tell all my secrets to. You are not asking if there's someone I trust my life with. You are asking if I completed the checklist of life accomplishments. You are asking if he meets the criteria he doesn't know about. You are asking if I'm successful in life again. I didn't realize that the rat race also considered my love life. I'm not the only one that feels this way. Most before and after me fear bringing home a significant other, if there is one. We know what you will say before they walk through the door and take off their shoes and get a drink. You tell us you love us, but really we were raised to value pride more than love. We will do anything to hear the words, we are proud of you, because we think that's what you say when you love us. I don't remember the last time my father told me he was proud of me. What's really sad is I don't remember the last time he told me he loved me. I will not bring home a boy until he either meets your criteria or you just learn to love. The last time I heard a guy tell me he loved me was when my ex said it a couple of months ago. I know he's telling the truth. I used to think that I had to make him proud for him to stay and love me, but a year after our relationship, he still teaches me that love is the most important thing in the world. I don't exchange love for pride anymore. I exchange love for love. And it is the very reason why I wanted to take him home. Thank you.
That's very nice, Cheyenne. Appreciate you sharing that with us. Hit right over here, and I think that's nice. All right, next up, we have our guest poet. It is an honor to actually have him down. I really appreciate him taking the time to come down. He was a journalist in his 20s, and now he teaches English in the NUS High School. He's a published poet, so it's an honor to actually, I've never met anyone like that before. And without further ado, I'd like to give call the stage to Eric Valles.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, there's so much poetry coming out of this bar, and maybe the Singapore Writers Festival should set up here in November, right? And as Darryl said, I teach English. I've also written poetry. My first collection came out 3 years ago. It's entitled A World in Transit. And it's about migration as a blessing and as a curse. right? And I've been away from my home country of the Philippines for 20 years. So, some of the experiences in the poetry is heartfelt, right? So I can read 2 poems from the first book, and the first one is about domestic workers, and it's entitled Grazing. Rosa's eyes are now almost local as they match designer gear. She picks up the local tongue after shuffling papers. Her presence is tolerated like installation art. Hair knotted in a bun, the sun firing, real clay face on Zhongshan North, lying on artificial turf that is greener.
With less wear. With less wear.
Sorry about that. So, lying artificial turf that is greener with less wear, but does not revive time lost. Big corporations all-seeing, glassy eye, radiant on LCD screens, and trances with promises, euphemisms, tall tales that Rosa half believes, half hopes, to make up for migrants' difference. A wild graft late in summer to flower, vascular tubes convulsing, odd, aching, oozing sap to stain polite banter. Meal costs rival public housing rent in gouging out the Topayo or Pudong sky. Nameless wheat flowers jostle and choke while staking out a pavement crack. Chinese crunch numbers like teller machines. Bangladeshis move mountains, nibble prata morsels. Scrubby sheep in the image of bosses whose values escape translation in a vacant world. They must be supple like bamboo, presiding in opium dens of wool, wearing dignity like a dress, veiny arms hoisting a roof over a remote family. Rosa's mother-of-pearl eyes swallow the scene, ferreted out of shadows onto gardens. Pert, pug-nose, and chapped lips hang on a face set hard like prickly artificial turf. And a poem. And right, the day after Masalamat, the terrorist escaped from Whitley Detention Center, Whitley Road, where I live, was swarming with cops, right? And that was a watershed moment in Singapore, and also for me, because I wrote a poem about that experience, and I think it's the only poem so far about Masalama to be published in Straits Times. Okay, and this is entitled "A Stir on Whitley Road." A police detail toting machine guns, jaws taut, eyes shiny like tots, whose heads still spin after a carnival ride. The day after Salamat shattered the peace in our palm-lined neighborhood. Their skin like cowhide, boots planted on college green, sometimes cutting about like fire ants, with pincers seeking some enemy who drives children away from playgrounds on the street. Is a fugitive crazy? Does he wrestle with shadows under a flyover as the city scurries home to dinner? I slink for a vulnerable gate, look for vacant traces on the sidewalk, hope not to catch the bloodshot eyes of that bearded man on the poster. I have not spotted his lip on the driveway. He has not peered through a fish eye in the front door, but robs us of rest and ravages the pastoral of manicured lawns and licorice sunsets that made writing here so easy. Okay, so those are the poems from A World in Transit, and there are actually a few copies left on the Asian Singapore literature shelf at Kinokuniya, where you can also send email to my publisher, Ethos Books. And for those of you who are aspiring poets, you may want to send manuscripts to Mr. Fong. He's one of only a handful of literary publishers here, right? And that's Ethos Books. Okay, I just came back from a writing residency in Massachusetts, and the National Arts Council actually paid for my travel expenses. I was there writing poetry while contemplating a lake in a small town named Ashfield. And I also revised some of my poems for a second collection, which will be launched on November 9 at the Singapore Writers Festival. So for those of you who will be there, you may want to drop by the big tent at SMU for the launch of my second collection. Is entitled After the Fall, Dirges Among Ruins. It's about war, violence, and traumatic experiences, and how we cope with these memories. Okay, so the first poem from that collection I'm reading tonight, I'm reading another one later, is about this super typhoon Haiyan, which ravaged the central part of the Philippines. And maybe a few of you donated to the restoration of some of the cities ravaged by that typhoon. And this poem is about how some of the survivors of that tragic disaster try to keep alive the memories of their loved ones, those who were missing and were never found, on cyberspace. And so this is entitled Haiyan Posts. A blue and red Noah's Ark anchored to a hill of wooden splinters, its sparkles dim, denizens drowned by salt waters reclaiming what they had lost. Like a beached whale, it didn't belong in a city between the Gulf and the ocean, where industrial fumes from other places stirred the perfect storm. Noxious winds bawled and rumbled, battered houses of cardboard and iron sheets, bulldozed everything in their path. A child's game gone terribly wrong, atonal music going on and on. Gone viral in tweets and video shares on loop. Clutching a pink toy car, Abigail darts across a muddy footpath. Strumming a guitar, Chester squats on the pavement. A blue and red flag peeks into a grilled window. She's waiting on news after the landfall. But updates like food aid are late in coming. Friends post another message for him. Hope for a reply beside an emoticon. Her sniffles are not heard in the wind. No child's laughter breaks the stillness of binary codes on cyberspace. His love song whimpers in girlfriend Glenda's dream every night, amplified by shorn coconut trees left standing, heavy like salt in the black air. Okay. So everything's been heavy so far. Thank you. I've also written some love songs, and just to lighten up the atmosphere, I'm reading a love song inspired by the national hero of the Philippines. He was a patriot, frequent visitor to Singapore. He was named Jose Rizal, and his American wife. This poem is entitled Dulce Extranjera, which in Spanish means foreign candy. Okay. Rice wine runs dry in the still. No more doctor's brew, folk song, gentle Laguna de Bay. The memory of your sugar cane is the only comfort for this condemned prisoner. Your laughter is gone. No more steering in your gaze past ghostly acacias, new towns, in an outrigger. Every turn farther from this patriot's home, that is you. Out of a wall of Guardia Civil, you reach and grab my neck and anoint me in nards of joy. Embarrassing, true. Your perfume weighs heavy at noon. Believe with me that mountains will be level, fountains will overflow. The angel will close the gates as both of us embrace the tree of good and life. My tears will wet mimosas as I rest my head on dry earth to listen for your heartbeat amid bells ringing. The holy water of your kiss at last will wash me clean. End of poem. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Eric. Appreciate your time over here. I'll help you out with these. Here we go. Alright, everyone. I hope you like what Mr. Eric just said up there, because I think that's some deep words and deep writings. And yes, Ocean. Thank you for a round of applause. And like I said, if you missed anything out, we have everything recorded down over there. It will be posted on the site, the event page, so you're not gonna miss anything from tonight, unless I decide to edit some stuff out. Moving forward, poetry is not only about spoken word. We got some music in this as well. So yeah, so you know what it is. So I've got a very beautiful lady over here. I'm single, I don't know about her, but I'd like to give a round of applause to Eunice. She's gonna do a thing with the guitar on stage, so let's do it!
Hi. Okay, this is actually the first time I'm doing this. Like, I've never performed before. Okay, I hope I don't massacre the song now. Okay. Hey, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Can you? Yeah. So, okay, I just hope I don't massacre the song, okay? Come on, skinny love, just let's begin. Pour a little salt, we will never keep. La la la, la 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 la. So I'm gonna think of one person. Tell my love to make it all. Cut all my ropes and let me fall. La la la, la 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 la. But in the omen, it's all the storm. And I told you to be patient, and I told you to be fine, and I told you to be balanced, and I told you to be kind. Now in the morning I'll be with you, but it'll be a different kind. 'Cause I'll be holding all the tickets, and you'll be owning all the flights. Come on, skinny love, what
Sijuan song, but like my classmates came all the way here to support me. Thinking that I'm gonna do another song, and like I hope it sounds okay. Okay. Yeah, classmates. I'm just okay. I didn't practice, but not really didn't practice much. So the last week you can just sing along, okay? Okay. Yeah. Okay. You probably know this song. Okay, I'm gonna sing "If I Lose Myself" by One Republic. Okay.
If angels did exist, well, they sound like that. You know, if I was eating something, she made salt taste sweet. Thank you very much, Eunice. I like that piece. Next up on stage, we got an awesome guy right over here. His name is Megah, so give it up for him.
Hey, good evening. So yeah, I'd like to thank Darryl actually. Thank you so much for giving me that random private message on Facebook one day. And she's like, hey, we're gonna think. And I was like, okay, alright, sure, I'll do it. There's wrote this day based on the event. It's called Apocalypse. I look forward to the apocalypse. I'll be so glad when that day finally arrives. So while the preachers preach and naysayers say nay, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I'm sleeping till noon on that day. I eat my cereal for brunch, and whilst the television news panic and advises everyone to stay calm and stay at home, I go on to wake up to read the last chapter, complete that final level on that game, finish up any expiring food in my fridge, and have one last bite to Hitomi Tanaka. And then put on my best suit, write down that last note saying, I'll see you again soon. And as the comet, wave, earthquake, or devastation approaches, and before the world turns gray, I ask you, have you been kind? Have you been good? If you have, then there's nothing to be afraid of. Take my hand, and we'll see each other on the other side. And together, we'll embrace the coming gray. I look forward to the apocalypse. Thank you. I'll just do one more. This is something that kind of inspired me the other day. Let me just look for it. There you go. Okay, so this is called Children. We were never meant to be the children we were taught to be, or what was taught to us was the model for a better society. We were taught for utopia, and yet utopia was a paradise that was never meant to be. They taught us such lessons that smoking kills when you are hooked. They taught us the key to a better life was by the pen and the book. They taught us, stay in school, know the lessons, and get that paper for the measure of success. But utopia was never meant to be. Utopia was run by pressure for excellence and perfection. A single hint of fault has to slide without detection. And as we crack under the pressure, we escape through such vices. These vices come in the form of such infernal devices. The nicotine relaxers, the alcohol limers, and the chaos and collisions of love and lust push us to seek that human touch. But we are all not carnal animals in the garden of eternal youth. We live by each day with belief that one after the next will bring upon the warm touch of the sun, of the refreshing kiss of rain that washes away every single bit that has brought us pain. We seek beauty in its many forms, and we do our best to preserve what little we can hold, a little bit of heaven. Yes, we were never meant to be the children we were taught to be, but we were meant to be the person we were meant to become. Thank you.
That was Megah, everyone. Wow, that was nice, brother. Next up on stage, we have a very nice, pretty face, Natalie Wang. Give it up for her, people.
The last couple of poetry slams that I went, or open mic sessions that I went to, I ended up doing like very social message, feminist type poetry. But lately there has been a spate of relationship problems I've been hearing about, not just like mine, but other people's as well. So I figured it's spurred this long, like a lot of poems I've been writing lately have been about relationships. So yeah. The first one is about a abusive couple that I heard about. The girl who ended up being abused ended up cheating on the guy, and yeah. There is an elephant in the living room, crashing around the furniture, but he does not see it. Over the heavy stomps of its feet, it's trumpeting and screeching. You can hear the crashing and shifting in the kitchen, as the memory of pots and plates are thrown against the wall, over and over, but he does not hear it. If you strain, you can make out the ghost of a woman screaming upstairs in the master bedroom, but he does not notice. He does not notice the elephant, he does not notice the plates, he does not notice the woman, because he's too busy pretending not to notice. Amidst the finger marks and bruises he's left, the lover's bite on his wife's neck.
this one. I was, as all the friends who have known me for a while know, I have been whining about being rejected for the last month or so. The thing is, I was rejected not because we were incompatible or because we didn't like each other, but for extraneous circumstances like religion. So this isn't the first time this has happened to me, so I ended up trying to write a poem about it, and there were a lot of feelings and realizations I was trying to piece together. Eventually, I came across a Tumblr quote by this author of a book that I had never read, and I never heard of this author before, but the quote, like all Tumblr worthy quotes, stand on their own and it's a very powerful one. So by Paul Auster in his novel Moon Palace, the quote went, "No one was to blame for what happened, but that does not make it any less difficult to accept. It was all a matter of misconnections, bad timing, blundering in the dark. We were always in the right place at the wrong time, the wrong place at the right time, always just missing each other, always just a few inches from figuring things out." So I was trying to write a poem about misconnections, and I ended up with this one called Misaligned. In another time, in another life, was something a boy once told me. Cold comfort, perhaps, but it was possibly the only comfort he knew how to offer at 3 in the morning while we were in front of our respective computers after we had unthinkingly and stupidly confessed our mutual affections to each other, and then in the same breath reminded the other that we still loved the ones that we were actually dating very much. Maybe if you had come in a year earlier, he added as an afterthought. But no matter how casually or kindly he had meant it, that phrase must have made its way into my brain and lodged itself deeper than I ever thought. Because a year later, after we had our shot at that other life, it exploded in our faces. And for a while, that phrase was the only thing I could think about. And late at night drunk, I would wonder about other lives. That day I learned that it didn't matter how much chemistry two people might have. It didn't matter if their hands or their bodies might fit and fold into each other perfectly, how much they might love the other's company, or how well they might know the other. Life is not a love song or a fairy tale, and there are things we are unable to bribe or negotiate with or fight, no matter how much we might attempt to try. Time is one, and circumstances are another. And so are gods, or God, or Allah. Something I only realized when another boy told me that yes, even though he liked me, it was impossible, or at the very least, extremely difficult for anything to be able to work out in the long run, because gods are gods, and we had things that were too hazy before us with our different life goals and futures and families and friends. And I finally understood that the one doesn't exist. The person you decide is the one for you today might not be if you had met a year or 10 later. People change every day in peace and in speech, and to be able to decide on the one requires the heavens to be aligned in just the right moment. It requires the collision of 1,000 factors that are beyond our control. If we had been born under different stars with different names and skins and faces, it might have happened. But again, the factors that surround the happiness of two people are so much more than the people themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. Next up on stage we have Izyanti. There you go.
Okay, here goes. In retrospect, I had never wanted forever. And you are not perfect, my lovely, but you are my favorite within the hemispheres and fissures, the geography of the cortex, sharp planes and angles inside a riot, a furor, a cacophony, a kaleidoscope. I am gray matter shimmering into color. This is devotion, and devotion is prayer. Come be with me, stay alongside me, talking and tethered loosely. The next one is a story for Rachel.
Rachel. Not my Rachel.
Not your Rachel. Okay, a story for Rachel. of stars come from above. Having found the coordinates of our core, and oceans reach rolling back and forth, the depths will no longer frighten me, nor the limits of the shore. And one that is untitled. I slouch, feeling the weight of the Grand Canyon in my hands, the Earth's magnetic center, the reminder and pull to the end. When the distance stretches and aches, cellophane pulling tight across these tensing shoulder blades, I'm looking for light to bring within, the warmth and health of boulders and sand. Rituals. The pumpkin seed I nibbled on had the taste of jasmine. I was expecting salt, nut, and earth. The scent of such evenings are an insistent thing, sinking into yellow chrysanthemums, fingertips dipped in gold, a treasury of paper ingots to send off your beloved in the comfort of currency. In our funerals, there is little gold involved. White cotton, crumbled mothballs, jasmine strings. We send our dead off with flowers from plastic bags that usually will coffee. We wash our beloved in our homes, their bedroom, or the kitchen, wherever the makeshift aluminum tub may fit. The hands rinsing pulled flesh and still bones are our own. Death is a thoroughly domestic affair. We sing our beloved feet. The soil is often orange clay. Feet gathering from houses, lighting up buried gold. There are things in common. Full fracture lines, freshly exposed nerve. That's it.
Next up on stage, we got a very wonderful lady over here. Her name is Sheena Chua. Let's give it up.
This one is about my grandmother. She walked like thunder, slicing across the quiet. Mother Goddess, she wore her frailty as a badge of honor. Anywhere she entered, the sea of people parted for her. A little old tissue-haired Chinese Moses, gleaming behind her glasses, false teeth, fake pearls. If Moses was woman, she was woman. Even when she shrank to the size of a 12-year-old boy, she was woman. Even when ivy dripping, food refusing, nurse admonishing, bruised, battered and bitter, she was woman, goddess in the flesh. She was Mary Mary, full of grace in the mornings, and Athena when they made her take her medicine. She was Demeter, marrying the man she loved and suffering his mother. Came Chinese New Year, they slaughtered the awful squawking thing in the bathroom, but there was no chicken for her or her 4 children. She was Gaia, loose skin, jutting veins, that grandchildren clinged onto like tree branches. When they pressed down on the vessels, trailing her wrist, asking, does that hurt? She laughed no, as if life never gave her more hurt than an 8-year-old's touch. She hid well, hid all the photo albums so she wouldn't have to remember that he died before she did. Hid in the corners when the Japanese soldiers came to take her brother away. She was Hera in old age. Wielded infinite power, but rendered helpless by an absent Zeus and demigods that scattered across the land. Vindictive, sometimes jealous, mostly lonely. Finally, she was supposed. She was ready to go 20 years before she did. The second one is called Smoky Rings. She felt like coming home. Everywhere she... Sorry. Refresh. It's okay! He felt like coming home. Everywhere we went was a little cave we carved out of our own, a little dome, igloo. I told him, did you know that the term Eskimo is racist? He told me he was an Arctic fox. Tweak the air conditioning so high, reach up in between the sheets. In your kisses as you freeze, I said, when I die, bury me. With the yellow curtain, grimy bathroom floors, and the watermelon painting hanging crooked in the corner, I want to go off a hoarder. To leave as I've lived. And these will be all that's left when the tornadoes quiver and the hurricanes come home. Our home was a chain of smoky rooms, our dream a Las Vegas after party, a finger stained and itchy from the battery leaking out of this camera. Will you take a picture of it? I know you like how brokenness looks. I know you like how homelessness looks. I said, baby, I know you want your name in lights, and I know how you go looking for fights. I know you want things I'll never understand or need, like your filling pairs of starry eyes glistening at your feet like a single voice, or a million screaming your name in repeat, like your impulse to feel a pulse beside yours, to feel a mouth beside yours, to feel a palm inside yours. You sly fox, you monkus, with the twinkle in your eye and your tendency to lie with anyone who fits into your empty Arctic paws and your hungry Arctic jaws. What's the use of coming home? And home is a tainted photograph series, a roll of exposed film corroded and molded because we couldn't find it in us to change the batteries. Complacent, that's what we were. Naive, thinking our energizing bunny love didn't need the wholesomeness of the sun every once in a while. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheena. That was awesome. Can you give a big round of applause up for Rachel?
Running through me right now, so it be one to do. This is about the skin condition a lot of people have and everything. So, look at the nervousness of your prepubescent skin. Hairs curling. Look at the nervousness of your prepubescent skin. Hairs curling in themselves, a red circular and green lip. There are many roots that feel the warmth and jaggedness of the walls of fingers, of keratosis hairs. Take a hammer or a nail and run in slow motion. Crack it, crack. Bop your head till it touches the floor. Cartwheel into the future. The grass will prickle, perhaps it could cut it, like the heads of a foreign land. It squirts in your forceful recoil, ribbons tangling, running away. Have you had enough of the soundtrack of your volume? They end so quickly. Is it all a myth? Run my hands through you like a razor blade, culling your cocaine corners. It's called Love You Doll. Show me your zoo and I'll show you mine. Bend me over an animal and puff your dirty cigarettes. I might not begrudge you having a camel on the camel. My heels squeeze into that soft spot, all flair, all teeth, all desire, in its slick, quick motion. When evening falls, shades of it distill into your ceramic head. The base of your collar tickles. Smooth cowls and strided sheets. The booted heel, the rubber sole, couldn't fall on cobbled streets. I love you all. You have nothing to remember with that I broke your arm in the summer of '02, patched you up with glue and tape till Melvin could exercise actual craft. Singapore Post registered article, a signature for your body in a box. After that, tie ropes around your wrists and waist, animate you to the tip of your braids. I love you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rachel. And I like the thing on your head. I don't have hair, so I can't do that. Next up on stage, we have Mr. Robert. Come on, give a big round of applause. Never mind.
The doctor said I had a heart problem. Her voice was open grave and infection of concern. You have no heart, she told me. I cannot hear it in your chest, and yet the blood is singing a song without rhythm. I do not understand why I can hear the rhythm, the high notes pure to the rush of life through your veins. Your blood speaks as if in advance. It is beautiful, multitudinous voices, different parts of a harmony, and yet you have no heart. And then I told her, some nights I check my pulse in bed. I put 2 fingers on my throat. I push down against the skin, against the flow, just to tell myself, it's still there, still humming for me. And I made a palm on my chest so I know it's empty. You see, it feels empty. I can almost scoop the empty out of it and hold it in my palm, Doctor. I have not lost anything but my faith. My heart is a goddess. Her first name is a young man's first year of high school. He sees the signs of romance and first love, the way her hair flows as she turns away, or the way she pours water on him in the science lab, or the way she shows him the penknife hidden in her bag. This is love, they tell him. This is love just like the movies, except he isn't an actor, he's just another kid who really ought to sue Disney. This is the first name of the goddess, and in the emptiness in my chest, is swallowed among the stars. This is the first name of my heart, and now it lies in the furthest regions of the space within me. And now the second name of the goddess is reached like a seduction. He has started watching seductions, suave screen specters and sleeping women to bed. And he is convinced that all he needs, like his history, doesn't whisper in his ear like bedbugs, but in his bed, with his brain tossing, turning, needing resolution from images on his screen. And this is the second name of the goddess. This is the one I never really had the heart or guts to pronounce, one that invokes manhood, as if a name could invoke manhood. Fight like a man would all these years spent living scared. This is the second name of my heart, and it sounds hollow like a black hole. It swallows like a black hole, and it never really lets go. And Doctor, the first name of the goddess is broken, and the second I cannot say. But the third is a pattern. It is battles woven into the air, like silence, snapping silence at the heels of conversation so loud, I swear you would hear the pins dropping. In space, you can't hear pins drop, but my house was full of pins, pulled like grenades ready to go off. And the trick was to not really look at them, but the explosions burned into his retinas. The back of his eyes was in the back of his mind every time he turned on the TV. He saw domestic scenes of uncivil wars, tearing down houses and putting up walls. And you see, this is the third name of the goddess, Doctor. This is the third name of the goddess that reveals that the years on the battlefield, quiet as the stars, because all is fair in love and war. But what happens in love becomes war. What happens when 2 planets are caught up in gravity, tearing each other apart. Because this is the third name of my heart. And it tells me that love will become the war between worlds. So I told the doctor that day, I have lost my faith, and it is beautiful.
All right, Robert, thanks a lot, brother. Just so you guys know, Robert was impromptu. He wrote that thing on the spot when he came down. And I think that was awesome. Next up on stage, we have a very close friend of mine as well. We've actually shed blood together as well. I mean, he beat me up when he got nothing to do. And I'd like to give a very warm welcome to Kelvin Yeo, the Chinese guy.
let's just get this shit on the road. I'm hearing people booing me from the back. But still, right. So I'm here to do some poetry. Freestyle it, I say fuck it, let my mouth run free. But I'm not too good with my verse, which is why to do this, I actually had to rehearse. Right? And pardon me if I don't speak eloquently, my words are too simple, maybe a little bit too ordinary. And bear with me if I get too incoherent, maybe I ramble on, space out, or just have that one big moment. Right? But at the very least, I can guarantee that this is not bullshit, it's 100% me. There's a few ways for a guy's life to get fucked. One is through his liver, the other is through his heart. But I'm sure you all know that, come on you all do, it shouldn't take a lot for my broken words to get through. But enough with the soft story, the lousiest side of life. We are here, most of you have drinks in hand, so fuck that, leave your baggage behind. I mean, I'm here on stage rambling on stuff in my mind. You might think I'm horrible at this, but at the least, I'm trying to have a good time. Well, think about it, you're already here, so might as well take a seat, have a few beer, right? Or something stronger if that's what you fancy. I hear that they have some pretty good Japanese whiskey. Sometimes you just got to live a little, right? Live in the moment, live in the present. Smell the flowers, enjoy the small things, slow it down to a trickle, and go slow. Act, react, attune to the flow. Relative to the world around, we are small and insignificant, but it's the little things that kill you that make you learn to feel alive. And you are only either living or dying because you know that from the day you are born, you are doomed to die. But fuck that shouldn't stop you from at least giving life a try, and to find the people who, when you're done with living and moved on, the ones that's worth keeping are the ones who will cry. Now I'm running out of words and I'm running out of rhymes, so let me just wrap things up and say a few more lines. I'm not perfect, I fuck up, sometimes I'm just messed up. I like to think I'm a simple man, simple needs, simple wants. Most of the day, most of the night, my hand is just enough, if you know what I mean. Right? I don't ask for much, just a life that's a little bit less frightening. I take my time, I'm in no hurry, and to end up on my deathbed filled with scars, each with a little bit of story to tell. And across my face lies a smile. Sounds so much better than to die without having lived a life worth singing about. That's it, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
That's a nice one, bro. Shit, I love you.
That's all very well.
That's what it is. There's nobody seems as awesome as my Chinese guy. Alright, next up, I'm actually gonna do something that I wrote some time back. It's nothing depressing, nothing about love. No, it's just full of shit. But you know, that's what it is. So yeah, it's called Reality Bites. See. So, okay. You gonna fight me. You wanna fight me. Alright, so there's something you need to know. See, I float like a butterfly, I sting like a bee. Talk about Ali, ain't got nothing on me. I dodge and slip punches while I'm asleep. Who's James Tony? You must have met me. I punch so fast, my gloves turn into machetes. Just like a surgeon, I'll cut you open methodically. I'm vicious, I'm a killer, I'm gonna eat your children. You damn right I'm deadly. I float like a butterfly, I sting like a bee. Talk about Ali, he ain't got nothing on me. I dodge and slip punches while I'm asleep. Timothy Bradley, dang, you must have met me. See, when I'm in the ring, I fight so effortlessly. My movement's so graceful and fluid. Some say it's poetry. I'm like a modern-day poet and composer of symphonies, Shakespeare and Tchaikovsky, and they're gonna be proud of me. I'm an artist of sorts. I sculpt the human body. I'm gonna rearrange your face, ribs, liver, and kidneys. I float like a butterfly, I sting like a bee. Talk about Ali, he ain't got nothing on me, baby. I dodge and slip punches while I'm asleep. Roy Jones Jr., damn, you must have met me. Now, you heard of me and my moves are no less than deadly. So you best think twice, else suffer the risk of a fatality. And you best think hard because I damn sure won't go easy. You got it all wrong thinking that this fight is some kind of charity. Truth be told,
you might not make it home to see your family. Because the only place you're gonna go after this is the mortuary.
Shit. I float like a butterfly, I sting like a bee. Talk about Ali, he ain't got nothing on me.
I'll be dodging and slipping punches while I'm asleep. Floyd Mayweather?
Shit, you must have met me. Okay, so you still want to get in the square circle with me? Boy, you must have a death wish or you just damn near crazy. I'll tell you what you're going to do. Call in your coach, the cutman, and the referee. Because I like a challenge. You won't want to disappoint me. And while you're at it, you might want to call the priest. Read you your last rites as you fall to my feet. Maybe the coroner too, so he can tell the police. I'm sorry, boys. Cause of death, stupidity. So, I float like a butterfly, I'm gonna sting like a bee. Talk about Ali, he ain't got nothing on me. I'm a dodge and slip punches while I'm asleep. The fuck is Manny Pacquiao? You talking about me? No. What's that noise? I think my mom's calling me. Come on down right now, your lunch is ready. Shit, I think I gotta turn off this PS3. Out of this room, back to reality. Thank you very much. That was just some, next up on stage, we have Mr. Edmund. That's what it is, baby. Come on, Edmund, I love you.
Can you all hear me? Well, good. If you can all hear me, okay. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to offer you a comedy skit of sorts. Okay, so, if any of you watch Game of Thrones, you know what I'm talking about, right? Okay. The name of this skit is Westeros Top 40 Radio. Right? And depending on my position on the stage, I'll be playing multiple roles. Okay? Alright. There is on the Westeros Top 40. Good evening, little birds. I'm your DJ, Valles. Some people call me the spider. Yes, yeah. And now I'm going to start counting down the Westeros Top 40 for the week. First of all, I would like to name for you the best song of the Westeros, the number one in the Westeros Top 40. And this week, as it has been for the past God knows how many weeks, the number one song on the Westeros Top 40 is still The Reigns of Castamere, as covered by the Red Wedding Singers. And that song's been around for years, but their rendition is absolutely killer. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, today we'll be interviewing some of Westeros' future top singing stars who will be participating in the forthcoming Westeros Vision Singing Contest. So, first up, we have known for his previous album, Off the Wall, Mr. Jon Snow. Yo, how you doing, man?
Yeah, it is, baby.
Yeah. Right, so, Mr. Snow, I noticed that you had a big hit once with your previous song, Off the Wall. Can you tell me what inspired it? It's my life, see? You know, I spend all the time, all my life, the way I spend it, with all my brothers in black, on top of the wall, and so because of that, and that's how and so once, when I saw, actually it was inspired when Lord Tyrion came, you know, and, yeah, Lord Tyrion, you know, the short guy, And so when I saw him, I saw him do something at the wall that gave me this beautiful lyric come to my head. And that it was, life isn't so bad at all when you're pissing on the wall. Well, yeah, that's very, very, very nice business. So, can you tell me about some of your new songs of your latest album?
Yeah, definitely, man. You see, now this one is called Watching in the Night. It's about life, it's about my life. And it goes like this. My daddy was a high-low, I don't know who he banged. But I'm the product, and now here I am, the come. So you know what I say, White Walker, you better not think it's Walter White. This is not Breaking Bad, I know I'm watching you all in the night. My girlfriend's so hot, she's been kissed by a flame. My body's really fat and he's kinda lame. But I say his ass, and he thanks me here all the time. Cause I'm taking up the black and I'm watching you all in the night. Yeah! Well, great, Mr. Snow. Thank you, Mr. Snow. And now, let's welcome our next guest, Mr. Michael Visvanath, who is about to offer us not just this song, but also his special side project. So, what is this side project you're offering, Mr. Bolton?
Well, right now, I can know two things. The first is my new song, When a Man Needs a Flame. And the second is the Bolton family cookbook. You see, the Bolton family gets an unfair reputation for being nothing but violent psychopaths. That's not true. We're also excellent cooks. You know, all the time spent trying to flay people, it's about cook. It's about cooking, man. You see, in my Bolton family cookbook, I'm going to teach you how to peel a potato, how to peel a banana, how to peel every kind of fruit possible, how to skin a chicken just right. And it's going to skin a chicken, how to skin turkey. Well, I don't tell you, man. Once you've eaten Bolton family turkey Christmas recipe, nothing's ever going to be the same again.
Why, thank you, Mr. Bolton. So, can you sing us an excerpt from your new album, Flame Life?
Well, I don't like that song, all right? I don't like that song that much. I'll sing my favorite song here.
Okay, very well.
Well, if you ever try to tell me what to sing again, I'm going to tell you what I did for young. Well, wait. You already had someone do that to you.
Yes, of course.
Well, let me start singing. When a man needs a flame, deep down in the dragons of my soul, I want to cause him so much misery. I could cut off his dick right there, send it back to his parents, because that's the way it ought to be.
Well, thank you, Mr. Bolton. And I look forward to the release of your album. So now we have our third guest. She's quite a rising star, and she goes only by one name. She used to be called, they used to call her Mother Daenerys, but now she goes by a single name, Khaleesi. So, alright, and so DJ Varys. Now, you see, my new album is going to feature this new song I wrote about my life. It's all the hard times I've been through, you know? I think I'm going to go through the hard times of my life. But I'm going to do them. And I'm right here, baby. And when you hear this song, you know what it is I'm going to do. Alright, why don't you try sing? You sing or something? Sure. This new song I'm going to sing is called Like These Dragons. I've run and made it through the red waste. Somehow I made it through. My car is dead and my son is dead, and I believe we must do. I'm gonna take the Iron Throne, and I'll do it, even now I have to do it alone. Oh yeah, even I have to do it alone. These dragons, woo! Hatched for the very first time. With these dragons, they're gonna burn you. To us to sing those fine. Well, that is very inspiring. Very inspiring song, can you see? I can see you really been around, so before you go, can you teach us to a word of Dothraki? You've been around that place. I'm sure you just pick up your phrase from there. Sure? Oh yeah, DJ Varys. Sure I can. The Dothraki phrase I want to teach you is not like this. Si, Li, Lan, Jiao. What? What am I talking about? I don't have it. Yeah, I'm Varys. Oh no, that's actually Dothraki for have a nice day. Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Well, you learn something new every day. So here we go. Those are our interviews with the three contestants of Western Vision this year. Let's see. Stay tuned. Stay tuned now, where I shall be hosting the Westeros Politics and Economics Hour with Littlefinger next.
Thank you very much, Edmund. That was something. Next up on stage, we got Aziel. Give it up for Pretty Lovely. That's my girl. That's my girl.
Hi, I'm Aziel, and today I'll be reading some poetry. So yeah. Okay, the first one is called I Weep. I weep at beauty. I weep at the beauty of nature and the wholeness of Mother Nature and the pureness of her expansive body. I weep at her sharp peaks and pools of glimmering, salty liquids. I weep at the sparkles in her eyes, deep, dense pools of velvet, so blue and so black. I weep at the beauty of love, at the expanse and depth and the enthralling nature by which it grips us all. I weep at its instinct to drown us. I weep at its habit of cutting us up at the seams of past hurts and hidden cracks. I weep at the beauty of death, at the completeness of its arrival and the impossibility of its existence. I weep at its companions, shadows and vacuum. I weep at the paradoxical existence. I weep at the perfection of the incomprehensibility. I weep at its inevitability. I weep at my body's soft, slow dance towards its embrace. I weep for beauty. So basically the past few days, weeks, months actually, I've been pretty well caught up in existentialism. So most of my poems
cease, an arrow to the knee, a proposal of you plus something. They hit your chest in the same spot, one a twinge below the throat, the other a blooming fire across the breast. If you know love, know then that pain is a twin. It brings thunder into your summer joy, but if the sun doesn't shine brighter after, perhaps you're just having a little reason. If you know pain, you must know love. It is loss, it is confusion, it is regret, it is wrongly placed trust, it is loving the wrong person, it is pain.
So if you like the mood, I have a love poem. I hope you guys like this one because it rhymes. So, yeah. Okay, so it's called If There Is Ever a Day.
If there is ever a day when you find you cannot speak, when you have lost control of your tongue, when you have lost your teeth, know that I will be your mouthpiece. I'll read your hand gestures and be your translator. I'll hear your grunts and whines and speak for your behavior. If there is ever a day when you lose your mind, when you know not reality versus fantasy, when off in memories you cannot find, know that I will be your diary. I'll tell you the story of our first date. I'll tell you the story of your proposal. I'll tell you the fairy tale of our wedding. Even if you don't recognize them, I hope you will smile. If there is ever a day when you forget me, when you forget you and you forget me, know that I will still be in love with you. I will flirt and be coy to get your attention. I will set us candlelight date nights. I will write love letters and place them around the house for you to find. Above all, I will lay in bed and let us fall in love again and again, day after day. Because love with you is a never-ending love story. Thank you.
Thank you, Aziel. That was very nice. I love the boots. Very nice boots. I like it. All right, everybody. What's going to happen? We're coming to a close tonight, but we have two more poets coming on stage before we call it a night. So the second last one, I think is another familiar face in the scene. We have Miss Charlene.
So here it goes. Have you ever noticed on long-haul flights that our hands give out sparks as the dashkins sit like that? The first time it happened, I thought I was going crazy. Maybe I need to sleep, I thought. So I tucked my head under, and my hands brushed by it again. For 10 seconds, I watched them turn out light into the dark. A lighthouse shining its beacon to a lost crew of my imagination. I wondered if anyone else could see electricity bursting from my fingers. Here was proof that my tiny hands held the touch of life. And there was any doubt of power that my hands could hold, it disappeared as fast as a septic sun. A friend once told me that she hated holding hands. It was too close, too intimate, too many germs to catch and holding on too tight. I thought that was strange. So then, I always thought holding hands was weirder. As teenagers, we looked out for idle hands and ratings, leaving a little longer on tabletops, hoping our hands would make contact. And then we'd go home. That first profession of light, shrink wrap, kept away from soap and trying with gloves of cold. But as we get older, we find our hands too important to keep away. There are bills to sign, doors to open, broken hearts to mend. Our hands, they don't stay still for long. They find the nape of legs, the stubble on chins, the bristling touch of freshly cut hair. They trace green paths, the contours of body to do this piece? Anyone?
Cheese, potato, cheese. Wait. Potato, cheese.
Chicken soup, valedictorian.
Chicken soup. Okay, can we do something that's not
vegan, and one last word that's not food related.
Wet wipes.
Sorry?
Wet wipes.
Wet wipes. Excellent.
Okay, I like 3 words.
Okay. Always use a wet wipe. Very good. Potato, cheese, chicken, valedictorian, and wet wipes. Always use a wet wipe, he says, as he takes it out from his bag. It seems a little strange that someone else will carry a packet of wet wipes in their hands. They're usually used by mothers for their babies. And then you realize that our society today has governed such a precedence on the art of keeping ourselves safe that we always keep ourselves safe from bacteria and germs that might permeate in the air. So much so that we don't talk to anyone else anymore. We are just humming molecules vibrating in space, hoping to be kept alone so we don't make compounds with each other. Because if there are bonds and bounds that we can make from compounds, that should be relegated to the side, kept on distant places like a pink dot on a map. And if I was a valedictorian with all things safe, I would tell you that there is no such thing as being safe. Because even with bandages, you could surround yourself. You could strangle everything out if you wrap something too tight. Turn your flesh blue from hoping every bleeding heart that you have saved would just keep bleeding. Because you don't put enough pressure on it. You don't stay long enough to say, hey. And just like cheese is to chicken, there is only so much nachos we can take that we don't crush on them as we walk out the door. Eggplants, eggs cracked onto shells, and they embed themselves into our blood. Keep them safe, they say. Keep our children safe, keep our families safe, keep all things safe from everyone else. But you don't realize that the more you keep someone safe, the more you put them in harm. They've forgotten how we immunize against everything else. As kids, we ran through fields and under locums, under drains catching spiders, and they taught us that germs would keep us strong. So today, keep yourself not safe. Keep yourself in danger. Keep putting yourself out. Because if you do that, you start learning that the scars that you have gotten have become thickened tissue. Things that keep you safe, the way no other bandage could ever hope to do. Thank you. So as Darryl makes himself on the stage very slowly, I have an old mic as well, that Darryl's a finalist, so Darryl should come for the next one. It's on the 14th of July, Monday, at Blue Jazz, it's in Bugis, at 8 p.m. So you guys should come, and you guys should come for this as well, because this is pretty awesome. So cool.
Thank you, Charlene. It seems we got a judge drink and he forgot his drink. You fooled my wife! You fooled my wife! Ah, shit. There we go, that was foul, and we've come to an end of Judgement Day Can Wait. Poetry Nights Cus. Session 1. I'd like to thank everyone for coming down, for making this possible, every single one of you. And the next one is going to be the first Saturday of next month, which is, I think it will be the 2nd of August. Just pay attention to the Facebook invite. But before we end, I'd like to call upon a man that without him, this would not be possible. The VP, Mr. VJ, come on up, man! Yeah! I love you, baby! Yeah, we look the same, we dress the same, but that's as far as you go.
Same, but different.
So, you know, we have a saying over here when we drink, but before he says it, I'll let Mr. VJ say a few words to you guys.
I love you like a love song, baby. I just want to thank each and every one of you for participating in this. I think there's a whole lot of talent out there. We need more evidence like this. And mostly, I think all of you deserve a whole round of applause, man. So give it up yourself. And for those that have gone home already. Last but not least, for the man Darryl for putting this all together. And for those of you, you know you still can continue drinking tonight because we got a whole night and we got a great band coming out later. I'm sure you're going to enjoy them. And in the words of a wise man sitting somewhere out there, smiling, have a drink, please.
So how we end up over here is, I want you all to pick up your glass, your bottle, and whatever you have. There's alcohol. Yeah, just pour it with your friends as well. So I'm gonna say a verse, and you gotta repeat it after me. So whatever you have in your hand, you gotta finish it up. This is what we say over here. We do it all the way, by the way, don't pass away, SOA. We're gonna say it together right now. Lift your asses up, come on. This is how we do it at Cus. All the way, by the way, don't pass away, SOA.
What's SOA?
Some and we've come to an end. I love you all.